So welcome to this video. My name is Alex, and I'd just like to start this video by giving you a bit of information about myself in case you haven't seen one of my videos before, and just letting you know what matters to me in life so that you can understand where I'm coming from and what my aim is with my videos. Now, for me, life is very precious. I think we live on a very beautiful planet. I spend most of my time outdoors, and I really value human beings. I'd say more than anything else, I value human beings on this planet. Of course, I have spiritual values. I'm a born-again Christian, so Jesus is central in my heart and God is central in my life. But in this material world, people are really the most important thing to me. I think people are just walking miracles. And so I try and share information which will help people remember how wonderful human beings are and how wonderful their own heart is. You know, we've got so much beauty that's completely hidden from us that we're not seeing because of our perspective, because of our judgments of ourselves. We have so much beauty in our heart, and it's really important we recognize that beauty in our heart, because that's really the essence of who we are. And it's good to appreciate yourself because you've been created by God, and you spend 24 hours a day in this body, in this personality, in this mind. And so it's really, really beneficial to appreciate the good qualities of who you are, the good qualities of your mind, the good qualities of your heart, because that generates a really positive attitude to yourself, to life, and it just fills you with a positivity that you can share with others. And this is really important to me, and this is what I try and do with my videos. Now, in this particular video, I'd like to talk about the word rapture. I really like the word rapture, and so I'm just going to discuss these 4 definitions with you and see how they're really connected. Of course, you may have a different opinion, but for me, all these definitions are really deeply connected, and it's no coincidence that the idea of the Christian rapture, where Jesus returns and Christians return into heaven, it's no coincidence that this word was chosen. Because for me, we come closer to God when we are in joy. We come closer to God when we are in a state of complete, divine openness. It's difficult to put these things into words, but when we're really open to God, when we're really open to the power He wants to bring into our heart, and we're not stuck in negativity, we're not stuck in our worries and fears, but when we're just at peace, our heart is happy and our heart is open, then we really feel the joy of God. Or I do anyway. I really feel the joy of God. For me, God is a very joyful being, or a very joyful, entity, or I don't know what the right word is, but God is joy. For me, joy is His greatest quality, and we can feel that in our own hearts. We can feel God's joy when we get out of negativity, get our mind out of, thinking about all the negative things, and thinking about this bleak future ahead, which doesn't exist right now. When we can experience joy, we can experience God in the present moment through our hearts. We can experience the joyful quality of God. Of course, you can experience God in any emotional state. You can experience God in pain and suffering if you call out to Him. But when you call out to God and He responds to you, then there is this light that comes into your heart. And for me, that's what gives me this feeling of joy. I just sense God's light coming into my heart, and I feel so joyful. And, in my mind, I don't give any attention to any reasons why I shouldn't be joyful. I don't waste my time, trying to make myself feel down, and feel miserable, and feel unhappy. And there's so much we can do with the energy of joy. We have so much more to give to those who are in darkness, or those who are in suffering, those who are in pain. When we've got this powerful energy of joy flowing through our veins and flowing through our heart, through our mind, then we have a really powerful gift. We have a lot more light to share with those around us. So I think joy is a really critical component of being of service to others and doing the utmost we can to help them come out of their darkness, help them come out of suffering and pain and misery and fear. So back to the word rapture, because as you can see, I'll read them to you. Number one, an expression or manifestation of ecstasy or passion. So of course these are just words, and words by their very nature are limited because they have definitions, they're finite. But if we consider ecstasy or passion, and we want to give that state, if you can imagine yourself in a state of ecstasy or passion, I'm not talking about sexual ecstasy or sexual passion, I'm just talking about the greatest joy you've ever felt in your heart. Maybe just something wonderful had just happened in your life, maybe the birth of your child, or maybe a great experience out in nature, or something amazing that happened in your life, and you get into a rapture of ecstasy or passion. Something that motivates you and gives you energy and makes you feel on top of the world, then that's one definition of rapture. And then you have a state or experience of being carried away by an overwhelming emotion. Well, that's very much similar to what I just said. It's when you have a powerful and profound emotion, and it's usually happiness or joy. We wouldn't usually associate the word rapture with negative emotions. And then you have to be a mystical experience which the spirit is exalted to a knowledge of divine things. Wow, for me they might just be the most beautiful sentence I've ever heard in my life. A mystical experience which the spirit is exalted to a knowledge of divine things. That's so profound, it doesn't even, talking about it or thinking about it doesn't even do justice to the profundity of that statement. A mystical experience which the spirit is exalted to a knowledge of divine things. And you could say that when we come closer to God, when we get more into God's realm, when we get more away from our negativity and fear and hopelessness and doom and criticism and judgment, and we move more into the heavenly realms, more into love, more into joy, more into compassion and kindness and care and love, all the divine qualities, as we get more close to that realm, then we're exalted. It's exalting. How can I put this? We are raised to a different reality, which is God's reality, and a knowledge of divine things. Well, I would say it's more accurate to say a knowledge of a divine realm, a knowledge of divine presence, you could say. God's presence, and what emanates from God's presence. Just like light and warmth emanate from the sun, what emanates from God's presence, or from God, are all the qualities that we would associate with beauty and joy, positivity and creativity and freedom and all the wonderful, wonderful things that we can think of. You would say that they are divine things. They come from a divine source. Although things probably isn't the right word, because they divine experiences. So we're exalted to a knowledge of divine experiences, which really means coming closer and closer to God. And this should be, I don't like the word should so much, but if we could just make this our priority in life, then life would be a completely profound experience, profoundly different to what it is right now. If that's our focus is to be exalted to a knowledge of divine things. And the best way we become exalted or become raised is by loving and caring and showing the goodness of our heart to the people around us, to the world around us. Really giving our heart to the world and showing how beautiful it is, showing how much it loves, showing how much it cares. It really lifts us up. It really lifts us up into this realm of complete selflessness, where we're really a vessel for God. I guess that's what happens, is that our ego is not getting any of our attention. We're not feeding our ego with our desires for ego things. So we're being used almost completely, entirely by God, by the loving force of God, to be a vessel for His love. And that radiates out through us. And we become a very loving creature, or even an entirely loving creature, ideally. And that's something to aim towards, becoming an entirely loving creature. And there can be no greater fulfillment, no greater joy, no greater ecstasy, no greater rapture than having the full, powerful, loving energy of God flowing through every cell of your body, all your veins, flowing through your heart, flowing through every part of you. Can you imagine anything greater? For me, that's the epitome of the word rapture. It's being a completely open, receptive vessel for God and allowing God's love to flow through you unhindered. And number 3, the final assumption of Christians into heaven during the end time, according to Christian theology. That's the rapture. So do all the things I've just spoken about, do they have any relevance to how we are raised up to God? Do those things have any connection to how we come closer to God, or we move completely into God's realm of light, which you could call heaven? Now, I would say they do. I would say they have an immense amount to do with the Christian rapture. And who knows what that's going to look like. But I believe that these powerful, divine emotions and experiences bring us closer to God and lift us away from the darkness into heaven.